Let's take a closer look at these masks or roles that we play in life. We all have a family role. We could be a father, a mother, a sibling, a caretaker, an elder, an aunt, an uncle, a godmother, a godfather, but think about how those roles intertwine over time. Perhaps you were a mother to an infant, and the infant is now an adult, and you say to yourself, well, I'll always be his or her mother, but I wish they would treat me like the adult that I now am, because I'm both a family member and a mother and an adult. Or let's say you're a caretaker of your mother or your father. Your role has changed, even though you're performing multiple duties and so forth. The entire notion of our employment, whether we consider it a job or a career, is a very complicated one. Not only because we can perform multiple roles, such as being both an employee and as well as a supervisor, as well as a coworker, but also because of the demanding nature of the amount of time that we spend on our job. Many times, for some people, our job is not that rewarding. For other people, the job is so rewarding, it over-defines ourselves. We cannot see beyond who or what we are in our employment and forget about all the other roles. So it's not all about money. It's about whether or not our job defines ourselves and also whether or not we enjoy it and it's consistent with our values. The whole notion of being a neighbor begs the question of that we also live in a neighborhood. Do we see that neighborhood as safe, or is it crime-ridden? Do we value privacy, or do we desire to be known by our fellow neighbors? Are we defining where we live by convenience, or do we just enjoy the nature around us where we live? So the place that we live and the sense of place that we have where we live is critically important. And it's intertwined with the whole notion of culture as well. We live in a country, in a state, in a county, and we can be politically active or politically passive. We can be very well defined by where we live and have a great sense of nationalism, or it can be very unimportant to us. The notion of nationality is very different than one of culture in a way, because our nationality can be very different than the culture in which we live. For myself, I define myself as a U.S. citizen, and that's quite important to me, but I also identify myself as an Italian American. I've been to Italy many times, but my roots are not in Italy. My roots are in the United States, and I'm also proud of my nationality. Our religious culture can also be a very quite defining aspect of who we are. Whether we're a member of a church, a synagogue, a temple, a sanctuary, or any kind of house of prayer, our religious beliefs can define who we are, and many times they intertwine with all the other roles that we perform in the neighborhood, in our family, in our culture, and how we raise our children, how we relate to our fellow citizens. I'm certainly not challenging any of the roles and values that anyone has, but I am asking you to ask yourself if there is a similarity, a congruence between all of the roles that you perform, all of the environments in which you perform it, and your underlying values? In other words, are all the masks that you wear worn on purpose, or did you just kind of fall into them accidentally? Because the amount of time that we devote to all of our roles is consistent with this notion of we vote with our feet. Many times we do things out of habit rather than because they're consistent with our values.